by the Maynard Webb benches. There was about 4 or 5 of us. And the leaves were clinquant in the sun. We were surrounding my coworker who had just been told she was let go. Her shaking hand lit a cigarette. She took a big puff. Well, I was sitting at my desk and my cell phone rang, and then it was my manager, and then I knew. And so as we were comforting her and giving her hugs, all of a sudden, my cell phone rang. And I looked. It was my manager. And then I knew. And that started my journey of being laid off for the second time in my entire career. This time it was a little scarier because now I had a mortgage and more kids and things to take care of. Also, 3 weeks later, my husband was also laid off. So that was even scarier. But the subsequent year provided lots of highs and lows, and it really pushed my ability to keep my optimistic viewpoint while still encountering life's hardships. So just to let you know, after my husband was laid off, we both promised each other, whoever gets the first job offer takes it, no matter what it is. And luckily, a month later, he was offered a job, and he took it, and he's actually still at that job. So that was great. And for me, unemployment was a series of highs and lows. I grabbed at every lifeline I could. They offered job counseling and training classes and everything. I took it all. I went and I networked. I had little cards made up. I did everything they told me. I was talking to people. I was working it. But what I found out was that there were hundreds of other project managers who were just as great as I was, and they were also unemployed. And we were all networking with each other. But that was okay. So I found a seat at my local coffee shop, which I have since made my home. It's my Cheers. I go in there and everybody's like, "Hey, Nicole!" And I would sit there every day. I'd get online, and not a lot of Facebook time. I actually only got on Facebook so I can network with my former coworkers and just keep relationships going. But I got online and I created a whole job portfolio and sent resumes out. And I'll tell you, I was unemployed for 6 months, and I had 0 job interviews. I had like 2 phone interviews, which you may think, well, that's kind of depressing. And it did, for a time, get me down. But the one thing I did to counter any inertia that may have developed was I volunteered. So I joined the Project Management Institute local chapter, and I volunteered with several groups there. I also worked in my kids' elementary classes and went on different field trips. And so I got up every day like I was going to work. I kept my babysitter because I had to keep her employed. And I went and I did these things as if it was my job every day. And I came home at 5 and everything was, I just kept a regular cycle. So thankfully, eBay gave a pretty generous layoff package. But as the time was coming to the end of where the savings was dwindling down, I was getting a little worried. So I started taking some online classes, and I got my PMP, so I was a professional project manager. And I also became a certified Scrum Master, so everything to kind of bolster my resume. And then my husband, through his company, works with Cisco WebEx, and he put my resume in there, and I was offered a job as a project manager there. So yay, I was employed. And WebEx was a very interesting experience. I enjoyed the work. It was projects galore. I just jumped right in head first. I got to use all my PMP knowledge, and it seemed like the greater team really appreciated what I had to offer. But then there were some different political, personal things going on, which I admittedly am not great at. I am a very straight shooter kind of gal, and I'll deal with you straight, and I expect people to deal with me straight, but that wasn't the way there. And so towards the end of my 6 months, things were getting really difficult for me. And they were so difficult that I was beginning to think I was back in my first marriage, which was not a good scene, which is why it's my last marriage. And one thing I did is that even though I was going through these rough times, I really had faith that, you know, I was going through this experience for a reason. The hardship was there to teach me something, and I was truly seeking to find what that was. Prayed every day, asked God to give me clarity, and I finally got to a point where I just accepted that whatever was going to happen was going to happen. I was scared of losing my job, and I was like, you know what? I'm doing the best that I can. If I'm not going to stay here, then there's something else for me. And once I was good with accepting that, I felt better immediately. The stress was gone, and I was able to focus. And then 2 days later, I got a call from my old director here at PayPal, and she asked if I was interested in coming back. So I, of course, immediately jumped at it, and I was able to come back to PayPal. And the reason why I wanted to share this experience with you is because, you know, a lot of times bad things happen to us, and we tend to say, well, why me? I typically say, why not me? Bad things happen to everybody every day, and who am I to be excluded from that? And so I look at life's challenges as an opportunity to overcome them and learn something and hopefully teach something to other people. So take on life's challenges and kick it in its butt. Thank you.